Graveyard delivery. Tiffany and Marcus sat huddled on their couch, scrolling through food delivery apps, debating their options for dinner. It was a chilly Friday night, perfect for their ritual of takeout and a scary movie marathon. Tiffany's eyes lit up when she spotted a new restaurant in the app, Angelo's Authentic Eats. Neither of them had heard of it before, but the menu looked incredible. The reviews? Strangely sparse, but the few listed were glowing. "Look at this," Tiffany said, pointing to the screen. "Handmade pastas, gourmet pizzas, the works. Let's try it." Marcus hesitated, his instincts prickling slightly, but hunger won. "All right, let's give it a shot." They ordered a feast. Pasta Alfredo for Tiffany, a meaty lasagna for Marcus, a Caesar salad, garlic bread, and a couple of sodas. The app said delivery would arrive in 30 minutes. When the doorbell rang, the couple exchanged a glance. That was fast. Marcus opened the door, and standing there was a man who made his stomach churn. The delivery guy was tall and gaunt, his skin an unsettling grayish hue with an almost imperceptible glow under the porch light. His teeth, visible in a too-wide smile, were covered in a green moss-like substance. A sickening odor wafted from him, a mix of decay and something sour. "Evening," the man rasped, holding out their food. His voice was gravelly as though he hadn't spoken in years. Thanks," Marcus muttered, fumbling to hand over cash. He avoided meeting the man's unblinking, milky eyes. Tiffany hovered behind him, clutching Marcus's arm tightly. "Come on, babe. Let's go back inside," she whispered, her voice shaky. The man tilted his head, his smile widening, revealing more mossy teeth. "Enjoy your meal," he said, lingering for a moment before turning and disappearing into the darkness. They bolted the door and burst into nervous laughter as they set the food on the table. "That guy was seriously creepy," Tiffany said, rubbing her arms. "Yeah, but we survived," Marcus joked, trying to shake off his unease. "Let's eat and get the movie started." The rich aroma of the food filled the room, and they settled on the couch with their plates. The opening credits of their chosen horror movie flickered on the TV. "This pasta is amazing," Tiffany said between bites. "Same for the lasagna," Marcus replied. "I mean, for a new place, Angelo's is killing it." They clinked their soda cans together in a mock toast. Halfway through the movie, Marcus leaned over and snagged a bite of Tiffany's pasta. "Hey," she said, laughing. "What? Sharing is caring." But as Marcus swallowed, his face twisted. "Ugh. Did you put extra pepper on this or something?" "No, why?" Tiffany asked, taking another bite from her plate. She frowned. There was something off, a slight crunch. Suddenly Marcus froze. His fork hovered midair, his eyes wide. "What?" she asked, her voice rising. Marcus pointed to her plate. Nestled among the creamy sauce were wriggling maggots, their pale bodies squirming. Tiffany screamed, dropping her fork. She stared at her plate in horror, realizing she had already eaten a good portion of it. She gagged, shoving the plate away. Marcus set his plate down, his appetite gone. But something on his plate caught her eye. "Marcus," she said weakly, pointing. He looked down and saw what she meant. Thin strands of coarse black hair were tangled throughout the layers of lasagna. Embedded in the melted cheese were fingernails, jagged and yellow. The room seemed to tilt as the reality sank in. They had been eating this, sharing this. Marcus bolted to the sink to retch, but nothing came up. Tiffany followed, her stomach churning. "We have to report this place," she choked out. "No kidding," Marcus said, pacing. "But first we're finding out what the hell is going on." They shoved the remnants of their dinner into the bag, grabbed their keys, and drove to the address listed for Angelo's Authentic Eats. The GPS led them to the outskirts of town, where the streetlights became sparse. They pulled up to the location, only to find a cemetery. The rusted gate creaked in the wind, and a weathered sign above it read, "Angelo's Memorial Cemetery." "This can't be right," Tiffany whispered. But it was. There was no restaurant, no lights, nothing but rows of crumbling tombstones. "Let's go," Marcus said. They turned to leave, but the gate slammed shut behind them with a deafening clang. "Who's there?" Marcus asked nervously. From the shadows, the delivery man emerged. His moss-covered teeth gleamed, and his gray skin seemed to glow brighter. He wasn't alone. Figures shuffled toward them from between the gravestones. Tiffany clutched Marcus's arm as more and more of the figures emerged, decayed, skeletal, their hollow eyes locked on the couple. "You enjoyed the feast," the delivery man said, his voice colder than the night air. "Now you must pay the price." "We didn't know," Tiffany began, but her words were cut off as the figures surrounded them. The couple tried to run, but their legs felt heavy, their movements sluggish. Marcus tripped and fell, and when Tiffany tried to help him up, her hands came away damp with soil. Marcus looked down at himself in horror. His legs were sinking into the ground, his flesh taking on the same grayish hue as the delivery man's. Tiffany screamed as her own arms began to fade, becoming translucent. The figures closed in, their voices an otherworldly chant. "You consume the dead," they intoned, "and now you join them." Marcus and Tiffany's world went dark. When they woke, they were no longer in the cemetery. They stood behind a counter in a dimly lit kitchen, their bodies stiff and unrecognizable. Their skin had turned gray, their eyes lifeless. Before them sat plates of food, hair-filled lasagna, maggot-ridden pasta, and other grotesque creations. They moved without will, compelled to prepare meals and hand them to figures who entered the restaurant. The sign above the door read, "Angelo's Authentic Eats." Somewhere miles away, a hungry couple scrolled through their food delivery app, stumbling upon a new restaurant they'd never heard of.